So I like watching tutorials, a lot of tutorials. One of the channels I like to watch is Bog, and recently he made a video where he tries Davinci Resolve for the first time, and while doing that he faces some issues which as a Davinci Resolver I want to solve. So let us begin.
Ooh, the scrubbing on the timeline is a little laggy, especially when I move my mouse quite fast.
So the lag you are facing is probably because you just installed Davinci Resolve. Sometimes it can take time to render the footage. So what you can do is go to playback and change the timeline proxy resolution to half or quarter, and then change the render cache to smart. Then you should have a smooth playhead just like this one.
Another annoyance is why do I have to release my mouse in order to ripple delete? Why can't I pick up the playhead, ripple delete, and then move it somewhere else? And it teleported the playhead here. However, if the video is playing and the playhead is moving, and I do that, it just continues moving from this place. It doesn't go back here. What is that? Oh, but that's the problem. If I release my mouse, the playhead just continues playing, and I have to deselect the corner of the clip and then catch the playhead so it doesn't go off screen.
Okay, so for all of your playhead related issues, I have one solution. What you can do is download this auto hotkey script. You can watch it on this video. So with this script running, what you can do is right click anywhere in the timeline and it will move your playhead to that position. Doesn't matter where you click, just right click anywhere and it would move your playhead there, and you can scrub, cut your clip, do whatever you want. And if ripple delete moves your playhead, then all you need to do just right click and your playhead will move to that position. Now you don't need to worry catching that playhead. You can always just right click and it will bring that playhead to your mouse. By the way, if you want to do a normal right click, you can just hold the control or shift key and you will be able to do the normal right click.
Here comes another important part, keyframes. I sure hope they're intuitive.
Okay, let me give you a basic introduction of keyframes and my workflow, how I use them. So if I add some keyframes and the zoom value, we can see all the keyframe in this section. Now if you are using one attributes or one or two keyframes, then it's fine to use this section. But if you are using multiple attributes, like if I add some position keyframes right top of the zoom one, then if I try to move one keyframe, then it will move all of the keyframe in beneath that keyframe. So while working with multiple keyframes, I don't usually use this keyframe section. What I use is this spline section, which has all the keyframes separately. You can just click on this arrow and it will pop up this menu, then choose whichever attributes you want to change. Let's select position, and now you can only change the position keyframe. You can see that if I drag up and down, then it also changes the value. So to tackle that, just hold the shift key and move left and right, then it will lock to that position. If I try to move up and down, it won't let me move there. So that's why I generally use this spline section. Now another thing you can do with this spline section, you can select this keyframe and hit any of this key. For example, if I hit this key, then it will add a ease out, this one adds ease in, and this one will give you an S curve, and also you can make your own custom curves, and finally this one makes your keyframes linear. Another thing, if you want to change the value of this attribute, first of all, if you click on this icon, it will remove all of your keyframes, basically reset this attribute. But if you want to change the value to the default value, you can just double click on the name, it will give you the default value and also add a keyframe.
And again, the timeline scrolled up for whatever reason. Actually, how do I keep scrolling up in the timeline?
So the reason your timeline is scrolling up is because you have turned on selection follows playhead. So what these options do is it selects whichever the clip is at the top. So if I copy this clip multiple times and stack it up, then you will see if I move my playhead, if the playhead is already selecting a clip, it won't select another one, but the moment I deselect, then it will select the top clip. So now if I zoom in the timeline, you will see if I move my playhead, it will keep selecting the top clip and it will keep shifting the timeline at the top. And then if I keep going back, then it will start shifting the timeline at the bottom.
So what I want to do is set my zoom and position keyframes, then click my keyboard shortcut, and the playhead should jump forward by 5 frames. So I don't have to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 every single time I want to zoom in. And I zoom in a lot in my video.
Well, the easiest way to do that is hit the plus key and then hit 5 and enter. It will move your playhead 5 frames forward. But I think the auto hotkey is the better way.
And it seems like there's no feature like this. There's no feature to add guides in Davinci Resolve. And that is really surprising.
Well, you're right. There isn't any way to add guides in Davinci Resolve. But I did make a free plugin, which you can watch it on this video. So to use it, you can just drag it from the effects panel and it will give you 2 guides. Then if you turn on Fusion Overlay, you can move it from on screen, and also you can move it from this inspector panel. You get up to 5 vertical and 5 horizontal lines, which I think should be enough. But if you want to use an inbuilt method, then you can use the annotation. And now if I draw a line, okay, let's just use the square tool. Let's zoom out and then add a vertical line and then one horizontal one, and there you go. You can have your guides just like like that. One thing you should keep in mind before you make any guides, make sure no clips is selected. If you select a clip, the marker will add to that clip. So for now, let's just copy this, deselect everything and then paste. And now to make these lines visible throughout this timeline, what you can do is hold the Alt key and just click and drag left or right side of this marker, and it will extend this marker. Now you can see these lines all over the timeline. But I will still recommend you to use my plugin LetMeGuides. I forgot to add the S. Never mind, I will add in the next version. Let's make these guides more thick, and now you can see that you get a perfectly centered horizontal and vertical lines. And not only that, if I turn it off and turn on this to grid, then you get a 3x3 grid, which you can use in various things. So yeah, do consider using it.
Also, can I not see the Gaussian blur keyframes that I have on this clip? Why doesn't it show my Gaussian blur keyframes? I can see that it ends here, but I want to move one keyframe to the left. Why can't I select this now?
The reason you can't see the keyframes, it's because this is an OpenFX effect. So the edit page doesn't have the option to view or manipulate the OpenFX keyframe. To use OpenFX effects with keyframes, you have to use Fusion or the color page. Here in Fusion, if I add a Gaussian blur and add some keyframe, you can see from this panel I can edit the keyframes and also the curve. Same thing with the color page. If I drag and drop the Gaussian blur, then I can add keyframes in the keyframe editor. Alright, that's all the issues I try to resolve for you. And oh, another thing I almost forgot to mention.